Despite the fact that basketball is a non-contact sport, the NBA has seen some pretty intense rivalries over the years. And as you can imagine, this has resulted in some players crossing the line both on and off the court. But who are the ballers that have taken things a step too far? And what did they do to cement themselves a spot on our list? For all this and more, stay tuned.
But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2K22 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.
First of all, let's talk about the time Marcus Morris acted out with a basketball. Before playing for the Los Angeles Clippers, Morris was one of the best impact players the New York Knicks had at their disposal. But at a game against the Washington Wizards, the team began to second-guess whether the man's skills were worth the trouble he brought on the court. You see, Morris did something that day that many in the sport still reference as being one of the most disrespectful moves in the league. While the Knicks were solidly in the lead, Morris received the ball, but unfortunately for him, Justin Anderson was all over him. Regardless of which way Morris would move, Anderson had him covered, and this caused Morris to grow frustrated. Rather than passing the ball off to a teammate and making a run for the net, Morris decided to fake Anderson out instead. With the ball held over his head, Morris then swung it down with all of his might, connecting it against the forehead of the defender. It didn't take long for the referee to blow his whistle, and in a true show of professionalism, Justin Anderson ended the play by clapping to show his respect for the decision. This rubbed Morris the wrong way though, and resulted in him making a beeline for the defender. In the end, his teammates held him back, but he really wanted to fight Anderson for some apparent reason, even though the poor defender had done nothing but prevent him from moving forward. Now that's psychotic. And then we have the time Draymond Green hit LeBron James below the belt. For those of you who don't know, the rivalry between Draymond Green and LeBron James has been growing since an incident that took place in the 2016 NBA Finals. It was there that Green infamously hit LeBron in the crown jewels after he had fallen to the ground and seen LeBron leap over him. Looking back at the video, it's hard to see whether there is any real intention behind the hit or not. Some have referred to it as less of a hit and more of a struggle to maintain balance after all. But the way that LeBron responded by going after Green was a clear indication of how he felt about the love tap. And although Green was later suspended for Game 5 of the series, this was far from the end of the beef between the two players. After the Cavaliers won the championship that year, LeBron celebrated by wearing an Ultimate Warrior t-shirt featuring a pretty cool 80s wrestling design. And while the jab might have escaped the majority of NBA fans, this was no doubt a reference to the loss of the Warriors. The NBA legend then made a further statement that Halloween when he served up a batch of Tombstone cookies decorated with the names of Golden State players. The next year, Green had the opportunity to hit back though. After the Warriors swept Cleveland under the rug in no time at all, he appeared in public wearing a t-shirt that simply read, "Quickie." Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant also took their rivalry to the next level, and this was somewhat difficult to believe, considering how the two used to be next to inseparable when playing together for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That being said, fans knew Durant's move to Golden State would have left a scar somewhere down the line, which is unfortunately what led to the two bickering on the court. There are more than a few instances to choose from when it comes to the breakdown in the relationship between Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. But all in all, it's the griping on social media that fans can't handle anymore. And what's worse is the fact that neither player appears to directly implement the other in their posts. It's like a game of psychological chicken, and it's about time that it stopped. Probably the most notable social media moment took place a couple of years back when Durant liked an Instagram comment that was critical of Westbrook. The comment read, "Subpar. The problem is Westbrook. The Thunder had a good-ass team." The like made national headlines, and essentially resulted in Durant diffusing the situation by saying that he had tapped the like button by accident before correcting the situation later. But that was nothing compared to the time Westbrook posted a video of himself rapping along to Ice Cube's No Vaseline, a song that many interpreted as being directed at Durant. The line describing someone as wet and soft was especially vicious, with many referring to the jab as being somewhat uncalled for. But if you think that was the end of Kevin Durant's antics, don't think again. It all started when Durant was a guest on CJ McCollum's podcast a few years back. It was there that Durant mocked the Blazers after McCollum had referred to them as being one of the hottest teams in the league at that point. The rest of the interview was friendly, with the two professionals striking up a joking tone with one another that made everything appear to be fine. But some fans got the idea that something was bubbling away under the surface. And as it turns out, they were right. Fast forward a few days, and McCollum was all over the news cycle, calling Durant's decision to move over to the Warriors soft. While maintaining that he respected KD's decision, he also referred to the switch as something a coward would have done on the streets. His actual words were pretty biting, saying, "It's like getting jumped with your brothers by a gang you should have beat, and then joining the gang that jumped you 2 months later and forgetting about your bros." It didn't take long for Durant to respond to the tweet by pointing out just how ridiculous it was. KD also straight up referred to McCollum, asking him why he thought so low of him as a person, especially after the two had apparently bonded on the set of his podcast. In reference to the beef, McCollum maintained that there was no feud between him and KD, but we all know he went too far, and can't forget about the time J.R. Smith got tied up in a controversy. Still considered by NBA fans to be one of the worst things a professional basketball player has been caught doing on the court, J.R. Smith decided to even the field in one of the most peculiar ways possible. To reflect on this atrocious behavior, we have to go all the way back to 2014, where we saw the New York Knicks taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Although the Knicks were ahead by 15 points, the Mavericks were making a slight comeback after being handed a couple of free throws. But Smith didn't want the possible success of the Mavericks to outshine his time on the court. So while the Mavericks were taking their final free throw, he lined up next to Sean Marion and untied his shoe. This left the attacker stumbling after the basket, giving JR the upper hand in any counterattack that could be launched. But unfortunately for him, the incident was caught on live television, which resulted in him being formally reprimanded by the league. According to its statement, the action was considered to be both irresponsible and dangerous to those around him, with the warning that another moment like this would result in a fine of upwards of $20,000 US. J.R. Smith got off with a slap on the wrist, but the fanbase never forgave him for such a dastardly trick. Suffice to say, the man retired with very little respect still attached to his name. Last but not least, we have that rivalry between Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade. Another surprising beef, considering how the two used to be teammates together when they both played for the Bulls. It all started when Butler dropped an honest reaction to an Instagram post published by Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade's wife. The post, which clearly showed Union in a sexy piece of swimming apparel, caused Butler to comment, "Well damn," which obviously rubbed Dwayne Wade the wrong way. How do we know this though? Well, the next day, Wade dropped a comment on Butler's own post saying, "Put a well damn in caps on my wife's photo again, and you're gonna see what the good, the bad, and the ugly is like." This was a clever play on the caption of Butler's post, which referred to the good, the bad, and the ugly of soccer. Hitting on a co-worker's wife should never be done, so we're glad Dwayne Wade jumped on it and put Butler in his place for stepping over the line. And there you have it, just some of the moments NBA players found themselves going a step too far both on and off the court. What do you think about these crazy moments though? And did we forget any of your favorites? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below.